Welcome, welcome. We'll give it a few seconds to let some more people into the room. Oh, I am so excited for today. I'm so excited for this moment. If you don't know, I'm Scott Barnhart. I'm the director of the Musical Theater Conservatory here at OSHA, and I am so thrilled that we're able to have this really incredible conversation and workshop today. This is part of our 5th annual Master Artist Series. This series it brings acclaimed artists and industry professionals to OSHA to work with you, our talented students, building their skills and providing inspiration and guidance for their futures. This year, we have an impressive list of visiting guest artists, including Tony Award and Pulitzer Prize nominated playwright Anna Devere Smith. Get ready for that, Anna Devere Smith. A trailblazing ballerina, Misty Copeland. What? And an Academy Award-winning costume designer, Ruth E. Carter. Like bananas. This is amazing. We're deeply grateful to our sponsors who makes this special experience possible. It's due to their generous support that we are able to provide our students unparalleled opportunities in the arts. We'd also like to express our gratitude for the special OSHA supporters joining us today. We appreciate your continued dedication to our school. We couldn't do it without you. We'd also like to extend a special welcome to Sally Segerstrom and James Gandry. I hope I said that right, who are in the audience. We're excited to have you here for this event. Now, this is exciting. Today, we are excited to introduce award-winning Broadway actor Darnell Abraham, currently playing George Washington in Hamilton on the And Peggy Tour. Darnell's professional performance background spans musical theater, soul music, R&B, and opera. As a result, he has been recognized by audiences and critics alike for his versatility in theater and on the concert stage. Darnell is a recipient of the Berkshire Theater Critics Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Musical and an Independent Reviewers of New England nomination for Best Actor. Notable credits include The Color Purple, which was the revival from the first National Broadway Tour, Ragtime, Next to Normal, and I Dream. We are truly, truly honored to have Darnell with us here today for a moderated career discussion, performance workshopping with select students from the Classical Voice and Musical Theater Conservatories, and a Q&A session. Students, please submit your questions through our chat. And in addition, students from OSHA and SGV's BSU will be invited to participate in an exclusive meet and greet with Darnell after the class from 4 to 4:30. We're extremely excited for today's program, and we hope that you enjoy. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Mr. Darnell Abraham.
Thank you, Scott, man. Thank you so much. And I'm excited to be here with you guys today. I've been looking forward to this from the moment we first talked about this thing. Goodness, I think it was well over a month ago now.
Yeah.
But truly, I mean, it's special thanks to the leadership there at OSHA, Scott Quinn. It's been such a joy to work with you guys leading up to this moment. And Sally Segerstrom, thank you so much, dear friend, very dear friend of mine, and just your family's continued legacy and support for the arts throughout Orange County, but also around the country. And then you, sir, Doctor, or not Doctor, excuse me. Well, I think it's Doctor. Yes, Doctor James Gandry from Manhattan School of Music, who's here with us today. And I want to offer a humble brag for Manhattan School of Music. This is a shameless plug. Who recently graduated their first class, part of their musical theater program. So they're definitely worth checking out. They are doing extraordinary things. They're back in New York City, and so I'm really excited what the work that they're doing, and they're doing all of these incredible things with Dr. Gandry at the helm. So thank you, sir, for your leadership and your vision. But today, my goodness, there's a lot happening in the world. There's a lot to talk about the intersection of the arts and social justice, racial justice. So Scott, I'm just looking forward to digging in with you and talking about some of these important critical issues today and how it affects us as artists, the industry history, and then how we can use our artwork to, um, to engage in society.
Amazing. Amazing. So let's get started.
All
We
right.
want to get to know you, Darnell, a little bit better, especially knowing that you have local roots here in the Southern California area. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about where you grew up in this area and how you got from this area to New York City and then traveling all over the country with Hamilton.
Well, once upon a time, in a land far, far away, in a city called Bakersfield, I was born. And so as a kid, I was always actively involved in musical theater. Literally, I want to say from the first grade through high school. And so I always knew that I wanted to have a career, pursue a career in the arts in some capacity. Fast forward, I did my undergraduate studies at Azusa Pacific University over in the San Gabriel Valley, and spent many weekends down in Orange County, be it at Newport Beach or Huntington Beach. I have so many stories, but that's for another class, another discussion. And then it was in 2011 is when my wife and I moved to New York I was accepted into Manhattan School of Music for my master's program, and that got us to New York. And let me tell you, it was a big jump. It was a big leap, coming from a really medium-sized city, but has such a small town feel and vibe. So from there to the Big Apple was pretty, yeah,
And
jolting.
what I'd love to actually further extrapolate on is what you studied in college and in your master's degree, which I think is really interesting. What did you study and how did you bridge between? Well, I'll let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was at APU, I started as a classical, not as classical voice. It was just a vocal student, and I was a vocal major, and but I really kind of split my time between the opera department and musical theater. And so I enjoyed being able to do different reviews, or even doing like a production of like Così fan tutte, you know what I mean? So and actually it was a teacher from New York City, who really championed the idea of me moving to New York. She had just moved from Manhattan herself, and said, hey, you really should consider doing a master's degree in New York City, if at all possible. So we really got down to business, and started working. And because of her guidance, my audition at MSM was very successful, and so had a great, wonderful 2 years at Manhattan School of Music. And then after I graduated, I was an apprentice at Da Capo Opera. And I don't think they're around anymore, but at the time, New York City Opera had just closed. And so the Capo Opera I guess you can say, essentially became the second largest opera company in New York City. And that was a very positive experience. But I was auditioning for managers, and the feedback that I was getting was, I should consider Broadway musical theater. And I really I hadn't given it much thought. But I think sometimes the universe or just circumstances have a way of guiding you, and that's kind of what happened. And even when I was at Manhattan School of Music, I was heavily involved in the opera studio there, but I also was involved in some of the musical productions there as well, musical theater productions there as well. So eventually, it was in 2000, I think 13 is actually when I decided to go ahead and just kind of go all in with musical theater, and the rest is history. And it was a steep learning curve, going from a part of the industry where we focus primarily on the voice, to now part of the industry where acting was the foundation. And but it was all familiar because of my experience as a kid growing up in musical theater. But yeah, it's great because now I have this knowledge and experience working on both sides, or both parts of the industry, where I can now bring that to the stage and work with students like you all today.
And can I want to follow up on this? Like,
Mhm.
what do you find you bring most from your classical training into your musical theater career and life? And maybe vice versa. Is there anything from musical theater? Because I feel like there's often this like this or that. It's either or. It's
Yeah.
classical or musical theater. But where do you find there's sort of that Venn diagram overlap?
Mm-hmm.
you're using both bits of training from classical and or musical theater?
Yeah, for me, it's well, the biggest thing that I've gained from classical vocal studies was technique, and that has been a tremendous help, especially when you're doing a show 8 times a week. In the opera side of things, that's unheard of. You don't do that. You might be on for 2 shows, and then because every show is double casted, because there is this importance placed on vocal health, and so I am now able to take what I've learned in terms of technique and vocal health and apply that to musical theater. And also there was something what was really interesting too about my vocal studies. You also experiment with the different shades and ways to use your voice. And it's not much different from being an actor, because as an actor you kind of have a toolkit. You're constantly experimenting with different tools. I like to think of it as like paintbrushes. I mean, I might want to paint with this brush, but maybe for this scene I might want to use a different brush. So it's very similar vocally, but I'm able to combine all of that and help create an experience that's fun, and that's at times very experimental, but nonetheless fun for me.
I love it. I love it. All the paintbrushes you can
All
get.
of them, all the
Um,
paintbrushes and all the colors.
Speaking of using your voice, see this
Mhm.
transition? I really want to get into because I feel like the work you do with high school students across the nation with EduHam and social
Mhm.
justice and civic duty, and I would really love to talk about how you found ways to use your voice in through your art, specifically with EduHam, the
Mhm.
educational wing of the Hamilton behemoth. Um, will you sort of talk to us about why you do that work, why that work is important to you, and what kind of work you do within that space?
Absolutely, absolutely. So Eduham, like you were saying, Scott, it's the educational wing of Hamilton. And before the pandemic hit, Hamilton, we would host these Eduham experiences around the country. There's 5 domestic Hamilton companies. There's Broadway, and then there are 2 national touring companies, and then we now have 2 sit-down companies. And I was part of the one in San Francisco. And so I would say about once or twice every quarter, we would have Edgeham, in which we would fill the entire auditorium with high schoolers. So up in San Francisco, we would fill those 2,200 seats with high schoolers, and they would have an opportunity to get up there and give a student performance that's inspired by historical events, and then I emceed those events, which was a lot of fun, getting a chance just to just be an MC. And then after that, they would go to lunch, and then we would do a matinee performance for all of these students. And the reason why I got involved was because for me growing up, I wish I had that experience. I really wish I had that experience where someone who looked like me was interested, was engaged, and said, "Hey, look at what I'm doing," and just someone who could help make that connection and someone I could relate to. So anyways, the work I currently do with EduHam ranges anywhere from workshops to panel discussions. We did one a while back earlier this summer on what was it, George Washington and the issue of slavery. Because that's a very complex issue. But that's the beauty of Hamilton, because it's a show that is based on historical facts, and obviously, there are artistic liberties have been taken, but once again, it's all rooted in facts. And so, from that, we are able to expand the conversation beyond the narrative that's provided on stage, and really go back and look at some of these issues and some of these topics very critically and talk about them. Because what we've seen with Hamilton, we have a lot of people who really weren't interested in history are now thinking, hey, history is it's kind of cool, I mean, and I had no idea that they were talking about this back then, and we're still talking about that thing today. And so there's such an opportunity, I think, an opportunity to engage. One of the things that we see that we've seen recently as a result of Eduham, there are districts across the country who are really taking a hard look at their curriculum, how history is taught, what is being taught, what topics are being left off the table, and why are they being left off the table. So I think we certainly see some very important conversations happening, and so for me, I want to be part of that. I really want to be a part of that conversation and maybe have a part in bringing about some positive change in the classroom. So that's why I'm involved with Eduham, and also it's a great way to use art, to express ourselves and encourage other people to do the exact same thing. So
Oh,
yeah, that's the short end of it.
no, that's amazing because I mean to purposely quote Hamilton, you're in the room where it happens. Like you're making it happen. You're making change and voices heard, and I think that's it's an amazing part about the legacy of the musical of Hamilton is its its active invitation
Hmm.
to students who maybe aren't always invited to musical theater, who aren't invited to Broadway, and
Absolutely.
making an active invitation. And I think that's amazing. So that segues into, let's talk a little more about Hamilton. How is it being a part of such a juggernaut of a musical, something that has transcended Broadway and has hit, the culture of America? Uh, Truly,
Mm-hmm.
it has really hit the zeitgeist of our conversation.
Yeah.
What is it like being a part of that? What's it like being in the inside of that beautiful organization? And where do you see the future of musical theater because of a show like Hamilton? That's a big question, but
That's a really big
I feel
question.
like you're up for it.
Okay. Well, don't grade me.
Okay, noted.
Well, first of all, I will say, dude, I'm still pinching myself. I mean, to be a part of a show like this it's a dream come true. I remember the first time I heard the show. I hadn't even seen it yet, but I heard the soundtrack. My wife came home. She says, "You have to check this thing out." And instantly, it caught my attention. And it's it's a joy, to be a part of Hamilton, and it's also with that comes a heightened sense of responsibility. There's such a deep respect for those who came before me with the company and who really laid the foundation. I think of the original Broadway company. Those guys really toiled the soil. Lin, he wrote just a masterpiece, and so really wanting to honor the work that they have put forth, and now building on that, and so it's really cool, man. To be part of that legacy, and now there's a desire to steward it well, whether I'm on stage performing or whether I'm doing something with Edgingham, or whether it's Hamilton in partnership with Get Out the Vote initiatives, as we were all of well, not all of us, but many of us were heavily involved in those efforts throughout the summer. So it's a dream come true. It really is, and playing Washington is definitely a dream come true. And there's also like this theme, like you said, legacy, but there's also a theme for me personally. I think there's also this idea of forgiveness, of reconciliation, of identity as a country. I think it's something we're currently grappling with right now. Who are we? What kind of nation do we want to be? And those are some of the same questions that they were asking themselves back in 1776, and really actually 1775. I think that's when the first draft of the Declaration of Independence was created. But anyways, so just to be part of a musical that is a living and breathing thing is it's just extraordinary. And yeah, it
Can
really
you
has.
actually, I would love to hear, because I think your story is really interesting with
Mhm,
Hamilton, meaning you started with the San Francisco company
mhm.
as it was founded as a standby for
Yeah,
three principal roles, if I'm not
for
mistaken. I would
for three
love that
principles. Yeah.
that journey from that position, which is, I mean, that is like the insurance of the year, someone who can handle three of the major roles in Hamilton, the talent and the study and the um that requires is massive. And then to land in the role permanently as Washington, what has that journey been like for you?
Ooh, man, let me tell you that there were some sleepless nights. So yeah, so when I first started out with the company, I was a standby, and I was a standby for King George III. Yes, I wore the white wig, and the cape, by the way. And then also I was standby for Burr, and so that was really cool. And then Washington as well. And Hamilton it's unlike any other show on Broadway because it's so compact and there's so many layers throughout that show. And that's just in the pages. Then you get into the blocking, you get into the choreography and whatnot, and everything is telling a story or supporting the story or propelling the story. So you're thinking a lot. You're thinking really hard, throughout the show. So to take on three roles and three gigantic roles at that, because King George he's no walk in the park. I mean, he's deceptively difficult. And so trying to wear those three hats and having to put one on at a moment's notice it was challenging for me at times. I'll be completely honest. I mean, there were moments where I felt like I was in over my head, but the support system there was generous, and they were just incredible. The support from the creatives down to my fellow castmates on stage. So that also helped me too.
Did you
But I
have
remember.
any did you have any mid-show, like, do you have any like crazy, like, it's like middle of act two and like you're on, like, you're Burr, go.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
had any of those moments?
I have no, actually, I thought you were going somewhere else with that
Oh,
question. I'm
go
glad.
go
So
wherever you thought it was
no,
going. I feel like it's more interesting than whatever I asked.
no, I thought you were gonna ask me, have I had any like mid-show mishaps? Because the answer is yes. And
Sure,
um, it's live theater. Anything could happen.
sure.
I haven't had any like mid-show moments where I had to go on, but I have had moments where it was 10 minutes before curtain and then I had to hop into costume. That happened with Washington. It's happened 30 minutes to curtain and I find out, hey, I need you to go on for Burr. And it's always a little scary, when you get that call. Um, but we spent a great deal of time in rehearsals to be prepared for those moments. And so and I think this is also something that's very important for anyone who is a standby or an understudy or swing in these shows or any show for that matter. Um, there is a level of trust and respect. Some people feel like, oh, well, understudies, they're less than, or they're not as talented as people who are in the roles. And that's really not the case. Really, these are people that producers and the creatives trust to provide a show that is going to be seamless. And so that is certainly there's pressure that comes with that, but there's also like there's an honor in that too. And so yeah, man, I definitely had some moments, I was shaking in my boots, but when those lights turn on, you just really rely on those rehearsals, you rely on your independent study, and you tell the story, and there are people who are supporting you throughout the show, and you just hang on and you just enjoy the ride. So
Oh,
that's a really good question. I do want to circle back to what you were saying about your question about Hamilton and how it might change the industry and whatnot and the future
yeah,
of shows. I think what Hamilton has done is it has expanded the conversation when it comes to representation on stage, and not only just in cultural representation, but also I think in the stories that we are telling on stage. I think also the sounds that we are hearing on that stage. I grew up in a neighborhood where R&B, pop music, hip hop, those were the sounds of the neighborhood I grew up in. And so that was something that drew me into Hamilton when I first heard it way back when. And so I think that that's very important because I think we want to, especially in this industry, we want to create art that reflects the world that we live in. And so I really do think that Hamilton is leading the way and expanding how we can tell stories, who who's telling the story, who's standing front and center. I think that's really key. And so it's just been really, really exciting, I think, to see those conversations happen and to see new shows that are coming out, where it's like they got that from Hamilton, So that's also like really cool too. And I think it'll be really exciting to see what the landscape looks like 5, 10 years from now. I think it's going to look quite different than what we see right now. Thanks.
Um, let's get into some workshopping. Yeah,
All right, let's do it.
and get started. Our first student, we're going to bring in Edison Kim, an 11th grader from Classical Voice.
Hey, Addison, how you doing? Oh, hold on. Wait, I think I lost you for a second.
Hello?
There you are.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Edison, how you doing, bud?
I'm great, thank you.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, so what are you singing for us today?
I'm going to be singing Osolemia.
Hey, all right, all right. So whenever you are ready, let's do it.
Yes, sir. Oh. My bad. My Bluetooth speaker has turned off.
It's all good. It's all good. Edison, are you a baritone, a bass, or
I am a tenor.
Hey, very, very resident voice, by the way. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you.
Absolutely.
Che bella cosa, una giornata e sole, un'aria serena dopo una tempesta, bell'aria fresca, pare già una festa, che bella cosa, una giornata e sole. Mamma tu sole, che bella è me, a sole mio, stan fronte a te. O sole mio, stan fronte a te, stan fronte a te.
Yes. Come on, man. With the voice like that? What? Okay.
Go Edison!
Thank you,
Right?
sir.
Yes, absolutely, man. Well, first of all, number one, gorgeous instrument. I mean, and the work that you were doing with your teacher, you should be very proud. Keep going, because man, I mean, Edison, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I am 16.
Man, gosh, with a voice like that, hello. All
Thank you.
right, all right, all right. Well, you know what? Let's unpack this thing. So, O Sole Mio, what is this song about? What are you saying? And just a
Oh,
gist. You don't have to break it down word for word for me.
I think it's a serenade. It's a serenade. The song translate to "You are my son." So it's about a man, singing about someone he loves.
Yeah, so it's a serenade, essentially. Oop, hold on, I think I lost you for a second. Yeah, so it's a serenade. What you say?
I'm sorry.
So it's a serenade. In other words, it's like a love song.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. All right. So at the beginning, when the music starts, you're standing there. What is going through your mind? What are you thinking about?
I am thinking about getting a good starting.
Oh, let's say I'm not sure what happened there. Sorry, you're saying say that again.
I think it's a very happy song, so I think that I get like a good strong note at the start.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So now there's a couple of things that I'd love to just to explore. We'll try this out. So setting the stage is so important. So before you open your mouth and start singing, I want to try something out. I want you to think about what, rather than think about the technique, the technical aspect of this thing, I want you to think about what you're about to say. I would be curious to see what that might look like. And the thing is, we all know that you have a beautiful instrument. So that part, check. Now let's get into what are you saying and conveying that, communicating that to your audience. Because let me tell you something, audience members, they want to connect. If we feel like there's a disconnect between you and the music, there will be a disconnect from us and what you're in your performance. We'll say, yes, that's a beautiful instrument. Oh, that's gorgeous, gorgeous. But I want to know that you believe what you're saying, or that you believe what you're singing. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so let's take it from the top, and I want you to take a beat before we start, but just think about number one, who are you singing to? And secondly, I want you to be thinking about that person. And as you think about that person, I want your text to come from somewhere. So it needs to be someone that you adore. It can be someone that you're dating, someone that you wish you could date. It could be a crush. It could be anybody, but that's for you. That's personal. So that's your information. But I want you to hold on to that, and then I want to start the song over again. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, so stop right there.
Yes.
All right, cool. So now we're going to try something. All right, so I want you to pace back and forth. Just kind of pace back and forth like you're just in deep thought. Yeah, just kind of walk. Slow down, take your time. You're not in a rush. We're just pacing back and forth. And what's your favorite ice cream, Edison?
I like plain vanilla.
Plain vanilla. Why do you like plain vanilla?
It's a classic, and it just has a very mild taste that is, I think, very agreeable to a lot of people.
I agree. I agree with you on that. And do you have like a favorite brand of vanilla ice cream, or do you just like vanilla ice cream in
I
general?
just like vanilla ice cream in general.
I love it. I love it. So, what's your favorite season, Edison?
My favorite season is the wintertime.
Wintertime. Why is it wintertime?
I like wintertime because I like the snow and there aren't any, bugs around.
Mhm.
Flies.
So Edison, I want you to walk a little slower for me, and just really just kind of take nice deep breaths. And can you paint the perfect winter picture for me? Just use
Yes.
words, whatever it is, just descriptive words, things that come to mind, and why winter is your favorite season.
I think that it would be a snowy forest, and in the middle
Mhm.
of it would be just a log cabin where I can be.
So what
There are no mosquitoes.
is are the lights on inside that log cabin, or is it dark?
Yes, sir. There are lights on. There's a fireplace. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm. How's that fireplace make you feel?
Warm inside, happy.
I love it. I love it. So I want you to keep pacing back and forth, and I want you to hold on to that. Hold on to what that feels like, and I want you to start the music. Keep pacing, and let's just see what happens. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Do I play the music?
Yeah. So think about that log cabin, wintertime, nice deep breath.
Che bella cosa, una giornata e sole, un'aria serena dopo una tempesta, bell'aria fresca
All right, we'll stop right there. All right, all right. How did that feel? Because I saw something, but I want to hear your thoughts first. How did that feel?
I think you're right. I feel like I could connect a lot more with the song now that I can put an image in my head of what I want, like
Yeah.
be my sunshine kind of.
Yeah. So right, so right. The irony is, the song, he uses these words, like sunshine and like, obviously the text is saying one thing, we're thinking about winter,
Yeah.
so that's kind of funny. But what I was getting at is there's a connection to the piece. And something, this is what I noticed this time around is there was your face relaxed because you weren't thinking, oh, here comes that first note. Okay, I have to get this right. It has to sound good. But rather, it was like that fireplace, whatever. So that's the work that we have to do. So after we nail the technical aspect, because we want to make sure there's a firm foundation there, then the next layer of work is connecting with the text, what it is that we're saying, and sometimes we have to substitute the text. Another word for that is subtext, putting it in our own words so that way we can connect with it. Just before we go on to the next person, just a couple of things just to be mindful of, as you continue to work on the song, which is a great song for you, by the way. One of them is, just feel free to relax your shoulders. You're very stiff, very, very stiff. So just kind of relax all of that. This isn't a song that's supposed to be rigid. This is bel canto is just very fluid and just beautiful line. The word bella, just be careful with that because you have a double L there. So you just want to make sure it's bella, bella. So it's just a slight break in that bella. But that's a very technical thing. But overall, I mean, well done today. Do you have any
Thank you
questions
so
for me?
much. No, sir. It's very clear to me.
Cool, man. I'm excited to see where the song takes you or where you take this song, a couple months down the line. But wonderful job, incredible, and stick with it, man, because you're going places. You're in the right place
Thank you,
today.
sir. Thank you, sir. It's an
Absolutely.
honor.
My
There
pleasure.
you
My
go,
pleasure.
Edison. That voice,
Right?
16 with that resonance.
I wish I had a voice like that at the age of 16.
Whew, whew. Let's bring up Kailani, 10th grader from musical theater.
Hey, Kailani, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really excited to hear you do your thing, and I'm just trying to get you up on my screen. There you are. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you have to offer today. What will you be singing for us?
I will be singing "Dying Ain't So Bad" from Bonnie and Clyde.
All right. Whenever you're ready, my friend, have at it.
I've met boys who talk about farms and horses, and they don't do much for me. I don't need to end up in a rocking chair. It seems you get to live your life just once, and if that's how it's gotta be, then I'd rather breathe in life than dusty air. Dying ain't so bad, not if you both go together. Only when you're left alone does it get sad. But a short in love and life, a short in love and life, a short in love and life, that ain't so bad. Thank you.
Brava. Well done. Well done. That is such a lovely song and you do it so very well. First of all, I mean, wow. I mean that is great in your voice and I love what you're doing with it already. Obviously, you've taken the time to understand what's happening and the text and whatnot. but just for the sake of exercise, let's unpack it a little bit. So what is happening, in this scene, or what's happened before this scene that leads you two to sing this song?
Yeah, well, I know that this isn't like in the real show, but my version of it, I'm talking to one of my old friends that I've been friends with for a long time. And
Mhm.
she's kind of seen that like throughout my life I've changed and I've grown apart from her, and she's a little bit upset about that. And so what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to show her who I really am and how I can be this new person.
Yeah. So you're trying to convince her that the old you has gone. This is me, and cool. So let's continue to work with that with that in mind. So you've established what you want. Now, this is what I'd like to do is let's take it from the top. Because now that I have that in mind, that kind of changes how I'm watching this. So let's take it from the top from the top again, and then I may stop you. All
I've met boys who talk about farms and horses, and they don't do much for me. I don't need to end up in a rocking chair. It's easy to get to live your life just once, and if that's how it's gonna be, then I'd rather breathe in life than dusty air. Dying ain't so bad, not if you both go together. Only when you're left alone as it gets sad. But a short in love and life, a short in love and life, a short in love and life. That ain't so bad.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, cool. Great. So this is what I'd like to do. I'd like for you to recite this as though it's a monologue. So is there anyone here watching today that do you have a friend, anyone that's watching us today or joining us?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple friends here.
I want you to pick one of them, and I want you to speak to them. So I want you to use these lyrics, and then I want you to talk to them. And within context that you've provided, like, hey, look, like, I mean, that's the old me, and you're trying to get this through to her or him. Whenever you're ready.
I've boys who talk about farms and horses, but they don't do much for me. See, I don't want to end up in a rocking chair. It seems to get to live your life just once, and if that's how it's gotta be, then I'd rather breathe in life than in dusty air. Because dying ain't so bad, not if people both go together. Only when you're left alone does it get sad. But a short and loving life, short and loving life, that ain't so bad.
Yeah. How'd that feel?
That felt good. It felt a lot more raw.
Yeah. You say and I'm sorry. Actually, it sounds like your microphone got a little muffled. You're saying it sounds. You said it feels a bit more raw. Oh, actually, just one second. Hold on. I think I lost you.
Your mic cut out. Melanie. Maybe come a little. Yeah, come a little closer.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I was saying I felt a little bit more raw now.
Yeah, and it certainly came through. There is, we're as actors, as performers, we're on this journey to strip away all of the I call it all of this fluff, if you will, so that way we can arrive at a place where we are our true selves, a place of authenticity, a place of vulnerability, because that's where the audience is going to connect. That's where they're going to be able to relate. They're going to say, you know what, I know what that feels like. I've been through that, or I know someone who's been through that. So I would love to, to take what you did, and let's see if we can apply that, if we can keep that while you're singing. And speaking of, at the very end, what's the final word at the very end of the song? That ain't so bad. So, sometimes, not always, always consult with your music director. But I would be curious, what would it be like if you just kind of throw away that last whole note? So you can just dying ain't so bad. And you can even half speak it, half sing it. And like I said, always consult with your music director, because you always want to honor the text. You always want to honor, their direction. But I have found at times, in my experiences, that when I take certain liberties, with permission, whenever I take those liberties, sometimes it can make it stronger. Um, does that make sense? All right, cool. So yeah, let's take it from the top with that in mind. But that's just really what I just really want to focus on with you today is just getting to that place of vulnerability, because you already have a very clear understanding of where you want this to go.
With the boys who talk about farms and horses, and they don't much for me. People need to end up in a rocking chair. It seems you get to live your life just once, and if that's how it's gotta be, then I'd rather breathe in life than dusty air. Dying ain't so bad, not if you both go together. Only when you're left alone does it get sad. But short in love and life, short in love and life, short in love and life. That ain't so bad.
Did you guys hear that difference? Did you guys see a difference? I mean, am I crazy, or am I the only one that saw that? I mean, hold on. Can we do like thumbs up? Like, did you guys catch that? Because I know I did. I mean, wow. That was night and day compared to, where we started with this thing. And how did that feel?
It felt good. I definitely felt a lot more like I was speaking to someone, like I was really conveying an argument rather than just kind of speaking by wall.
I agree with you on that. And do not underestimate the power of a power person. There's a reason why we call them a power person. It's because it allows us to, number one, connect and convey, but also there's just a power in talking with someone. And yeah, anyways, I can go on and on about that. So anyways, well done. And that very end ain't so bad. Like, I just like it just put a period at the end of it. And I believe you meant it. The other thing that I noticed this time around too, it was the acting in between the lines. That was another thing that I picked up on. I can't remember what the line was, but at one point you just kind of like looked up, like you were in thought, and then because you were obviously thinking about something, and then you went to the next line, and that's when I knew. I was like, oh yeah, she's in it now. She's hooked into it. So well done. Do you have any questions for me, before we go on to the next person?
I don't think so. Are there any other tips you have for me, I guess?
I would say there was one moment, where I can't remember the word, but it was a high note. And I could see you're thinking like, here comes that high note, you know. So like that was a moment where I saw you kind of come out of the moment. And look, if you hit it, great. You know, we always want to hit the big moments, hit the high notes. But if it doesn't happen, you know, it's not the end of the world. But I would say just continue just to work out the technique, and work with your music teacher on that part. So that way you can go into it and you don't have to think about it. You know, it's just already in the body. You've already worked it out. But the other thing too is, you know, feel free to experiment with the space. You know, feel free to move a bit more. And I'm not saying like use your arms a lot. It's not about using your hands, but it's about using the space, owning your space. Sometimes when we're talking with the friend, you know, we're here, and then sometimes we might go over here, we might take a step in that direction. I don't want to direct you on it, but just feel free to experiment with that, and just see what happens. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Great job today.
Amazing. Lovely. Ava.
Hello.
Ava, you ready?
Yes.
Mhm.
Hello,
All right.
my name. Oh, pardon. Sorry.
Oh no, go for it. You're good. Go for it, Ava. It is. Do your thing.
Hello, my name is Ava Kuntz, and I will be singing the Willow Song by Samuel Coleridge Taylor. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the storm. Sing, willow, willow, willow. Sing, willow, willow, must be my garland. Let nobody blame for thy approve. I call my love false love, but what said he then? Sing, willow, willow.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Great job. Great job. How did you feel about that?
I felt good. I think that with the adrenaline rush, the breath kind of like comes out maybe a little bit, but I thought it was good.
Good, good, good. And you should feel really good about what you did. Number one, your voice is hello, amazing, and
Thank you.
and this is a great song for you. So you know, let's just jump right into it. Um, what is this song about? Like what's happening? Did something happen before this song? Is it part of a larger show? Let's just talk about it. Just giving some background.
So it is from the opera Otello,
Mhm.
and I am Desdemona, who is one of the characters, and I
Mhm.
believe that Otello, my love interest, is mad at me, and so I'm finding comfort but also sadness in this song with like thinking about the willow trees like swaying, and yeah, she's in her room actually during this, and it's right after she's been ordered to go to bed, so she's comforting herself.
Cool, 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 cool. So obviously, I mean, this is a soliloquy, if you will. So we could, if I were to ask you the question, who is she talking to? She's like, well, I'm talking to myself. You know what I mean? So there's that. But for the sake of for exercise sake, I want you um, to find someone that you can talk to. You can make someone up, or to someone that you know. But this is, have you ever been in a space where you're speaking your thoughts out loud, but someone else is in the room? So I kind of let's kind of treat it like that.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, well, let's start there, and then we'll add something else to it. So let's just speak it before we put the music to it. Yeah, so feel free to use your space, and just whenever you're ready.
Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Sing willow, willow, willow. Sing all a green willow must be my garland. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. I called my love false love, but what said he then? Sing willow.
Very, very good start. Hey, but is there do you have like a notepad or something nearby?
No,
Or
I
even
did
like,
not.
or I was
I
gonna say,
have
even
an
like,
iPad.
perfect. Actually, yeah. You know what? Let's make this thing relevant, because I mean,
Okay.
who uses paper and pen these days? So now I want you to imagine like you're writing, a letter, or you're writing an email to somebody,
Okay.
and you're using these words, but you're doing your thing. So go ahead and feel free to open up your iPad, and I want you to actually like literally like use it as a prop for this exercise. All right, cool. And don't feel like you have to, like, willow, 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 like no one types that fast.
Okay.
So feel free to be like willow, 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 however
Okay.
fast you can type it up. All right, cool. Whenever you're ready.
Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Sing willow, willow, willow.
And feel free to use the space. Feel free to walk around if you want, whatever.
Sing all the green willow must be my garland. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. I called my love false love, but what said he then? Sing willow, willow, willow.
There it is. All right. So this is what happened this time. So you said willow, willow, willow. So you gave us a variety. And we repeat words for emphasis, or for other reasons, but I want you to keep the iPad, and we're gonna take it from the top of the song, and I just want you to keep using that as a prompt, like you're writing. And this time you don't have to use it as like typing, but you can actually like be pantomime that you're writing.
Okay.
And also, but before we start, how do you feel about what you're saying?
Like the character itself or me, myself?
Just you yourself.
I feel kind of like, I want to say like a confusion of like, I'm mixing comfort and sadness together, and like I'm like confused at where the border line is drawn. So
Yeah, so you're really grappling with with these emotions, and and they're valid. They're certainly valid. So I would say lean into that. Really, really lean into that as you're. And now I want you to think that think of it as you're writing this letter to a friend.
okay.
Or not. No, let's not do a friend. You're writing a journal, because this is you're expressing yourself. So you're writing a journal, and just kind of whenever you're ready, start saying it.
Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stars. Sing willow, willow, willow.
Hey, Ava. Okay, I didn't mean to stop you this soon, but I'm gonna let you do the whole song in its entirety here in a second. My friend, what you just did right there, like that was gold, because you were writing, da, 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 and you said willow, willow, willow. You were obviously thinking about something. So what happened is you weren't thinking about, let me just sing the words because that's what's next. but rather you're really engaged in what you were singing, and it just heightened. I have a cramp. It heightened, you know, your your performance, and I believe that you were in it. So now I won't stop you, but feel free, you know, to take those kinds of liberties, and then also when you get to the willow, some of those melismatic moments. Um, they should have some kind of meaning, you know, and I'm not going to say what it should be, but I'm going to let you decide. And we may not arrive at that point today, but it's just something to be mindful of. So go ahead, let's go ahead and do the whole song in its entirety, and I will not stop you. But great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's put it down. Let's see what happens.
Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stars. Sing willow, willow, willow. Sing willow, willow, I speak my heart. Let no one name his scorn I approve. I call my love so slow, but what said he then? Sing willow, willow, willow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I mean, the fact that you're able to apply, you know, those notes, and to do it so well, I think is kudos to you. I mean, very well done. Very well
Thank
done.
you.
How did that feel?
Very good. It feels more active and present, you know. It's
I
not, like you said, not just standing there singing, but it's incorporating the character and my own personal feelings into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, whenever back in New York, when my wife and I would go to the Met, you know, it was always exciting to see the singers who who were not only just engaged vocally, but who were also engaged in the text. You know, because long gone are the days of just what do we call it?
Bark
Park
and
and
bark.
sing. Yeah, park
Yeah,
and
bark
bark. You
and
know, I mean,
bark.
those, you know, those days, it's. I mean, in my humble opinion, you know, I think people. Um, I think just because we live in a society where we really want to be entertained, and I think just with, especially with like Met Online and HD and everything like that, you know, that it just not doesn't cut it. You know, I mean, and that once again, that's my own humble opinion. I think people really want to be engaged. We want to see that it's real to you, because if it's real to you, it's going to be real to us. And I saw something real happening with you to today, and so continue to head that direction, and you're going places. So well done today. Very good.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Amazing, Ava. Amazing. Owen, Tucker.
Hello.
Hey, my man, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing very good. I love your glasses. You know, I
Thank
just
you.
yeah, man, absolutely. So what are you singing for us today?
I will be singing All I Care About from Chicago.
All right, all right, all right. Whenever you are ready, take your time, and stage is all yours.
I don't care about expensive things, cashmere coats, diamond rings, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. I don't care for wearing silk cravats, ruby studs, satin spats, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. Give me two eyes of blue, softly saying I need you. Let me see her standing there, an honest Mister, I'm a millionaire. I don't care for any fine attire. Vanderbilt might admire. No, no, not me. All I care about is love.
You better sing about love. You better sing. Well done, man. I love I love what you're doing with the song already, and you definitely have charisma. I mean, and so that is great, man. How did you feel?
I felt like I did okay. I think because of the adrenaline, it kind of locked up my diaphragm a little bit, so I wasn't able to stay in a bunch of notes as long as I usually do, but it felt good.
Yeah, man. I mean, you should definitely be proud of yourself. And look, I mean, I've been doing this thing, for a while now. I still get nervous. I still get nervous,
Yeah.
and it's the human experience, and we just have to embrace it, and then we trust the work that we put into it, and then we try to forget the rest, but great job. So now let's talk about the song. So it's from Chicago. Who is this guy? Like, why is he talking about love?
He's talking about love because, he's like this slick lawyer, like he gets like all the crooks off and stuff like that. And so he has like all these fancy material things, and he's basically saying it's kind of like an irony song almost. He's saying like, oh, I don't need all this fancy stuff as long as I have love. That's all I really need in life. But in reality, he likes all his like fancy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, so there's a sense of comedy, but he's not trying to be funny, but the comedy is in the irony, of the fact that he's singing this song and he's a, billionaire and he likes his toys. Now let's take it from the top, and I want you to think of someone, I want you to think of your power person for this song. And I want you to, well, actually, let me back it up. Okay, so I'll put myself in this example. So growing up, I mean, I played sports, but I wasn't like ever really crazy about sports. I was good at it, but it just wasn't my thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and for me, I was like, I'd rather be in a theater or like singing somewhere, doing something, but so whenever people were just like, like, oh, my favorite team, this and that, I was just like, whatever, I was just like, give me my Shakespeare, I mean, I was that kid, and so I guess you can say I could have substituted Shakespeare with love, I mean, so people are talking about, the game, or they're talking about the World Series or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't care about that. Like, let's talk about love, what I mean? So, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
So feel free to substitute the text, in a way that it really helps you connect with it. So it could be from a real life experience, or it could be your imagination. So I want you to think of your power person. I want you to think about a conversation that you're having with them, and whatever it is that they're saying, it is the impetus. It's the thing you are responding to what they have said to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's take it from the top, and I just want you to speak it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care about expensive things. Cashmere coats, diamond rings, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love.
All right, so let's stop right there, and I'm gonna play along with you this time. So I'm gonna set this up for you. So I'm gonna tee it up, and then the ball's gonna be in your court. All right.
Okay.
Cool. So let's see. Owen, let me tell you, man. I mean, you have to check out this car dealership. I mean, they've got like the Lamborghinis are like stupid. Like, I mean, like the colors. Oh man, the leather seats and that horsepower, man. I mean, it's nothing. It's unlike anything you've ever seen before. And then after you get there, let me tell you about this place. That jewelry store down on Newport Drive. Man, I mean, like they have like watches like you've never seen before, and I just you have to go. So after you get the car, go down to the jewelry store and check it out. What do you think about it? How's that sound to you?
I don't care about expensive things. Cashmere coats, diamond rings don't mean a thing. All I care about is love.
Well, I mean, that's good and all, but what about, the what about the ladies? What about like, like all this like man, like what do you mean? What do you mean all you care about is love?
I don't care for wearing silk cravats, diamond studs, satin spats. Don't mean a thing. All I care about is love.
Love, 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 love. Man, hey, you're the only person who cares about love. Like what? So you see where we're going with this? We're having a conversation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the work that that's kind of something you want to be thinking about, is what is going to be the impetus that's going to be the new thought, so it's almost like you have to have this internal conversation with your power person throughout the song. So now I'm going to let you do your thing. So just speak it. I won't say anything. I'll just watch this time and just play. We're in the sandbox. We're just exploring together.
Okay.
All right.
I don't care about expensive things. Cashmere coats, diamond rings don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. I don't care for wearing silk cravats, ruby studs, satin spats. Don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. Give me two eyes of blue, softly saying, I need you. Let me see her standing there. And honest, mister, I'm a millionaire. I don't care for wearing fine attire. Vanderbilt might admire. No, not me. All I care about is love.
How'd that feel?
It felt good. It felt different.
It did, it did, and also what was cool about this time, it was less performative. There was less of this, like, let me do this thing, but rather just like, there, there was some really good stuff happening this last time around. And it was really cool because like, you were just like, I don't care, I really don't care. And then it was really cool too, because the inflections and the color, it all changed, and it was indicative of how you felt about these things. It was indicative about how you felt about what you were saying. And I really believed it that time around. So now let's try to marry that with the music. Don't change anything. Don't change anything. And if you feel the temptation to do any of this, fight it. Fight the urge. And yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay.
All right.
I don't care about expensive things, cashmere coats, diamond rings, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. I don't care for wearing silk cravats, ruby studs, satin spats, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. Give me two eyes of blue, softly saying I need you. Let me see her standing there. An honest mister, I'm a millionaire. I don't care for wearing fine attire. Vanderbilt might admire. No, not me. All I care about is love.
All right. So now this time, very good, very good. Your performance was definitely like more, like I feel like you were definitely more in control of that. It was definitely more centered. Now we're gonna do it one more time because we'll have to move on to the next person. But this time, what I'd like to see you try out is these new thoughts. So when you go into what is it? It's in the bridge section. It's leaving me right now, but where you start talking about her eyes. I want to see you like seeing her eyes. I want to see you see her,
Okay.
or that person. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
And be thinking about it right now before you start singing. Sorry about that. I was gonna say, and feel free to use that space in the intro, so feel free if you want to pace or if you, I just really want to make sure that you're thinking about what you're about to say. Maybe it's
Okay.
that conversation that maybe it's something that someone is saying to you before you start singing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's do it.
I don't care about expensive things, cashmere coats, diamond rings, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love.
How do you feel about love?
I don't care wearing silk cravats, ruby studs, satin spats, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. Give me two eyes of blue, softly saying I need you. Let me see her standing there. An honest mister, I'm a millionaire. I don't care for any fine attire. Vanderbilt's my admire. No, no, not me. All I care about is love.
Yes, sir. Well done. Well done. Well done. All right, cool. So we have to move on. But this is what I'd love for you to take home with this is really think about that idea of this, this ongoing conversation. So in those moments where you're not singing, whatever it is that person is saying to you, that conversation is ongoing. And then also, I would love to see like, how do you feel about love? Is it love or is it like?
Yeah.
Love, I mean, so I because I'm kind of missing that sparkle. See, and there is that charisma I was talking about. There it
Yeah.
is. So if I can get that charisma throughout the entire piece, bro, you'd be golden. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great job today.
Awesome,
Thank you.
Owen. Great job. Aaliyah.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, Aaliyah?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Absolutely. So what are you singing for us today?
Okay, today I will be performing A Cockeyed Optimist from South Pacific.
Okay, cool.
But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get out of my heart. Not this heart.
Hey. Yes, ma'am. All right. All of you guys have just these incredible voices. Like every last, it's like single one of you, like your voices are just so good. And this is such a good song for you. All right, cool. So now let's unpack it. So it's from South Pacific. And I'm assuming this is the nurse, singing. And what's going on?
So basically, in the song or in this scene, she's explaining to her love interest
Mhm.
that he's taking a risk in being with her, essentially, because she, like me, is a type of person who tries to find positivity in the midst of adversity. And in the society that she lives in, and I mean in our society, it's kind of deemed as green. In the song, they call her green, and they say that she's naive because she has like this kid mindset. And I feel like the song it kind of alludes to when you're a little kid and haven't really consciously faced adversity yet. So everything is just happy-go-lucky, and that's why kids are always running around, and that's why they associate her with being a little kid. So she's telling this man, no matter what happens, no matter how many clouds I see, as soon as that sun comes out, I can't see anything but positivity, and you're taking a risk with being with me, but I can't change who I am.
Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. And so now let's do it as a monologue. Let's let's take it away. Let's strip the music away, and let's, because obviously this is your love interest that you're talking to. Is there like, trying to think, do you have any object like it could be a stuffed animal, it could be anything nearby that you can use as a prop?
I have my phone and water bottle and lipstick.
Let's use the water bottle. Okay, so yeah, so we're using the water bottle, and I want you, and you're going to be talking to the water bottle, and your water bottle obviously is going to be your love interest. Who doesn't love water? And so I want you to speak to that, and feel free to use the space around you. So feel free to walk, pace, take, like walk maybe one step this direction, stop, whatever. I don't want you to overthink it, but I just really want you to feel free to move in the space around you.
Okay.
Okay, cool. As you're talking to your water bottle.
But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart.
How'd you feel about that?
Really good.
It was
I
really good.
thought more about the meaning of the words than just like trying to keep up the pace with music.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And what was interesting too is that you did it all in, like, I mean, I wasn't timing it, but that was maybe like 20 seconds, and whereas the excerpt is, closer to like 45 to 60 seconds. There were things that you're doing, you're just like, look, this is who I am. Like, I can't. So I wonder if there's a way that we can keep that we can carry that over into the music. And it's a little tricky, I know, because the music, you have these elongated, words or rhythms and whatnot. But let's try. Let's find out how we can maintain that even with the music. So let's take it from the top, and let's keep the water bottle because I think it's working really well for you. And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Cool.
But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill, telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. All right. Cool. Great adjustment, by the way. And right. And the cool thing is, you were able to carry that, what you did, when you were just speaking it, to sing it. You maintained it. So excellent adjustment. Now, the last part is, when you say my heart, how do you feel about that? About this is who I am, or whatever the text is, but how do you feel about what you're saying in that moment?
I feel like it's the one raw moment where Nellie is kind of realizing that she literally can't change who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes up this emotion that she holds inside of her heart essentially, is that she's always positive. And I feel like in that moment, it's not that she's telling her love interest anymore, it's she's actually telling herself, like, not this heart, like I can't get it out.
Yeah. So with that in mind, so it's really more of a statement. It's like it's a statement to oneself that, what, this is who I am, and I can't change. I won't change. So I wonder if you can just play with that at the very end. And so instead of focusing on it sounding maybe a certain way, and I'm not saying that you're doing this, this is just, you know, um, um, an example, but what would happen if you make that in like a statement? My heart. However you want to act that out. But rather than it trying to sound, or rather than trying to make it sound a certain way, I really want you just to hone in on like this is the period, point, period, and a blank. This is it. I have spoken from what is it, Mandalorian? He says, I have spoken. Anyways, let's do it again because and put the water bottle down. Because yeah, I mean that, like I said, that was a great adjustment. And do your thing.
Okay. But every whippoorwill is sending me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart.
Ooh, that was so good. All right, so that was so much better. I want to do this one more time because we have like a minute and a half left. I want you, I don't know what your space is like, but I don't know if there's like things that you can be gathering things and like maybe if there's like things you can be sitting in that chair. So that chair that's on your left, can you bring that in just a little bit? And then it's gonna be right by the wall behind you, on your left.
This one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, bring that in.
Here.
Oh, gotcha. Fair enough. And then I don't know what's all in your space, but I just want you just to kind of gather some things and just kind of set them in the chair as you're singing the song.
Okay.
Yeah, and but you're still talking to someone, you know. So once you get the music started, go ahead and feel free to just gather whatever and just put it in that chair.
Okay.
Cool.
But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so.
All right, so let's stop right there. All right, cool. So and so also feel free, like be very intentional. Like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and grab an Amazon box. I'm gonna put this right here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my AirPod case. I'm gonna put this over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this towel. I'm going to dab, and I'm gonna go because it's hot. And we're in the South Pacific. You know, it's sweaty, it's humid, it's bad for my hair. All right, I'm gonna take this cup. I mean, so you see what I'm doing? You know, I'm not like, you know, taking my time. Like I'm very intentional. Like I want to move this and put this right there.
Okay.
Cool. All right. And feel free to use anything that's in front of you, behind you. Just use the space.
Okay.
Cool.
But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart.
Okay. Did anybody else see what I just saw? Did you guys see that? This is what happened. Like your energy was elevated. There was an intentionality in what you were saying. I mean, and you were just like, look, I ain't got time to play games. Look, this is who I am. And look, you just need to know I love me, and whether you love me too, that's beside the point. You know, I got stuff to do today and I'm not here for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and oh my goodness. So you see what I'm doing right now? So but there was such an intentionality, and it was really fun to watch you work. Because you weren't thinking about, you know, the words, you weren't thinking about you know, the melody line, you weren't thinking about doing anything other than like, I got stuff to do and I need to like do it. And it was just really electrifying to watch that performance. Scott, what did you think about that?
I loved it. I loved it because again, it lived in action and
Yes.
it just like launched the message even more. And you sound beautiful. So to hear that beautiful tone matched with the action, ooh, great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, you did that. You should be very proud of yourself and keep heading that direction. Keep heading that direction, and it's a great song for you.
Mhm.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. Great work today.
Thank you.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Sophie.
Hi,
Hey, Sophie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm living in the moment. I mean, you guys are bringing the heat today. So yeah, Christmas came early for me. Cool. So what are you singing for us today?
Okay, so I'm doing a song called Democracy from Soft Power.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Hey.
should I go into it? Just go.
Yeah, whenever you are ready, the stage is all yours.
Cool. So many times it's left me battered and bruised, disillusioned, in pain, feeling I've been used. I swear I'll give it up before it downright kills me. Then it comes back again with promises that thrill me, and I forget what I really should know, and I forget that it's just a big show, and I dream, oh I dream of all it could be, and once more I believe in democracy. Ooh, democracy, democracy.
Child, democracy indeed. My Lord. Wow, that's a really good song for you. And I feel I feel what you're saying right now. And that is well done. Did you pick that song? Did your teacher pick it or
No, so I'm doing, or at OSHA we're doing like a show called Follies,
okay.
where there's like
Mm-hmm.
several OSHA teachers who are putting on a medley in a group of like 11 to 12
Mm-hmm.
people. And the leader of my group, named Daniel May, had suggested we do a medley from the musical he was in called Soft Power.
Yeah.
And so he assigned me the solo and I learned it, and I just really fell in love with it. And I thought it was like perfect, especially for this time during the election.
Yeah. You know, it's really, yeah, absolutely. You know, and this is such an example of the power of the arts. You know, I mean, it can be used to respond to what's happening in the world today, and I love it. And now let's unpack it. So what's happening in the song? Who are you talking to?
So in the context of the show, this is Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And basically what's happened is this is based off of David Henry Hwang's life, where he was stabbed in the neck by just some white person in New York. And so his character's like, they want him to write a musical for a Chinese like movie. And he goes into like this fever dream about this Chinese producer who comes to America before the 2016 election. And he's like checking to put on a musical about China in America. And while the producer's there, he meets Hillary Clinton because she's very different from real life. She does now like shows, like she's singing, and she's kind of gone kind of crazy because the election doesn't look so great for her. And so he meets her at like, I would say like a bar, and she's like singing, and they like find a rapport and they fall in love. And right before the song, he's telling her like, you know, democracy isn't it? Like, you guys, America should be a communist country. And she's telling him, she's basically breaking up with him, and she's saying, no, like, even though the American people have turned on me, I still find hope in democracy, and I'm telling you, like, this is how it should be in America.
Yeah. I mean, and very well explained. I mean, very thorough. And all right, cool. Wow. All right, so so let's take it from the top.
Okay.
I don't want to ask how does Hillary feel about this, but how do you personally feel about what you're saying in this song?
I feel hopeful. I think I feel hopeful about personally, like, our generation Z. I feel hopeful about we could spark social change, racial change in the future.
Has you know, and I don't want to get political, but are there things that have happened, you know, within the past 10 years that have frustrated you, you know, and at times have discouraged you?
Well, recently the murder of George Floyd, and that really made me really angry and upset. So that's something that I think that should take precedence. It's taking precedence right now, and that I feel really passionate about.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that question is because even, you know, as you started to talk about George Floyd and you gave that example, I could see that there was an involuntary response to that, which means that there is a connection to that event that was awful, and that was traumatic for all of us to witness. Out of that, out of the anger, out of the frustration, the thing that is driving us is hope. Hope for meaningful change, where we can all get up, do our jobs, live our lives, and pursue the American dream, live out the American dream. So it was interesting because so there's the relationship between the frustration, the anger. I'm just using your words, the disappointment, but there's the hope that drives us. There's the determination that drives us, and so that's really kind of the heart of what you explained earlier on with Hillary. You know, I mean, she was rejected, but she's still hopeful. And so I really want to let's take the song. Let's start from the top, because the thing is you have to be careful of with this song is you don't want it to come across as like I'm mad, I'm mad, I'm mad. And I'm not saying that's how it came across, but it's very easy. So feel free to explore, you know, the different levels underneath all of that. So yes, there is the determination, like, no, like I am still hopeful, but you know what? Yes, I was hurt to see, it was hurtful to watch that. It was traumatizing. And I was very disappointed, you know, and how that was handled. And you know, I'm still disappointed by the whatever. And I don't want to put any ideas or words in your head, but feel free to use all of that. And then let's just see what comes out of that.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to ask, who are you talking to? Sorry. So obviously within context of the show, you're talking to someone, but I want you to be thinking of someone that you're talking to, and it can be whoever. I don't need to know, but just also be mindful of that.
Yeah. Okay. So many times it's left me battered and used, disillusioned, in pain, feeling I've been used. I swear
give it up before it downright kills me. Then it comes back again with promises that thrill me, and I forget what I really should know, and I forget that it's just a big show. And I dream, oh, I dream of all it could be. And once more, I believe in democracy. Ooh, democracy. Democracy.
Yep. So the difference in that performance compared to the one you first gave was I could really see there was a laser focus in that performance, and it was rooted in something that was very real to you. And that, my friend, that's how it's done. That was really good. I don't want to really say anything else. I'm going to say this one thing and then we're going to leave it because keep going that direction. Ad-libbing, sometimes it's provided for us. There's oohs and ahs and whatnot. This is my take on ad-lib. Make sure we always want to make sure that it's coming from somewhere. So when you do that, democracy, democracy. So that that ooh, that or that ah, whatever, it has to be something. And so, and this, I'm just going to kind of give this one away. So, so here you are, you're talking about like democracy. I felt like I've been used and whatnot. It's like democracy. So see what I did there? It was that like positive, like democracy. So that breath, that beat that I took, that could be the ooh. So it can be like, ooh, democracy, democracy. And then, oh, democracy. Oh, so I mean, but you see, I'm just kind of experimenting because sometimes you say it one time, like democracy. Yeah, democracy. But once again, it's just you're just exploring, but it's coming from somewhere that's real, and that was so good. That was so good. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Scott,
Scott,
a more like apropos song for today.
that is perfect. I mean, it affected me.
Amazing. Well, we've got some time for a few more questions that we've been collecting throughout this.
Cool.
I'm going to invite some students just to ask them directly to you.
Let's do it.
So, Megan Barton.
Hi,
Megan,
Darnell.
how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you? Well,
I'm good.
you've already answered that, actually.
Well, I was going to say, it's crazy. Last time we saw each other, we were in San Francisco. Your family came up, saw the show, and now here we are, like, like on different sides of the screen. Your father texted me.
Did he?
So yeah, he did.
No, it's so fun. You're involved with OSHA.
Yeah.
Okay, my question. I know you've told me this before, but I'd love if you could share your first time meeting Lin-Manuel Miranda and your experience in Puerto Rico doing Hamilton.
Yeah. All right. So my first experience with Lynn was back in New York. We were in rehearsals, and during that 6-week rehearsal process, I was standing in for Washington because the guy who was playing the role full time at that time hadn't joined us yet. So I remember we were in rehearsal, and in walks Lynn and his father and his son, and it was announced that we're going to run the top of the show. And Lynn is going to step in for Hamilton. And yeah, you want to talk about like sweating. Like I was so nervous because like I'm about to play opposite of the man, the writer of the show, like the A-lister, Lin-Manuel Miranda. And it was crazy, but it was so fun. I mean, he's such a generous and just such a humble human being. and just a joy to work with. And so that was my first experience working with him. And then we worked together a few more times in rehearsal throughout the rehearsal process. But just overall great guy. And then performing in Puerto Rico was just this incredible experience. And we were there to raise support for the arts scene there because the island was still recovering from Hurricane Maria. So Hamilton's presence there was to help join in and to partner with the island and announce it to the world that Puerto Rico is open and ready for business because they really took an economic hit. But yeah, so we were there to celebrate the island, to celebrate culture, and so it was just so incredible just to be there. Waking up on the beach every morning was something else, but that was just like a dream. It was such a dream, and but it was really cool because also it was just the moment. It was the movement of being a part of something that is bigger than any one of us. And so I still look back at that time in Puerto Rico with great fondness. And then to be able to make my debut as Washington in Puerto Rico with Lin playing the role of Hamilton was just such a gift. It was such a gift, and it's one that I still carry with me. Yeah, obviously I'm still smiling whenever I think about it because it was just such a cool experience.
Oh,
Thanks so much.
Absolutely, absolutely.
so cool. So cool. Audrey Stevenson.
Hi,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing great.
Awesome. I first want to say that sounds like such a cool experience.
Yeah, it was a pretty remarkable one, and yeah, so but here we are. I mean, yeah. Anyways, but your question. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyways.
So, after seeing other people play the role of George Washington and Hamilton,
Mhm.
did you feel challenging to make it your own?
I wouldn't say challenged, but I definitely felt inspired. And the really cool thing about this show is the creatives have given us the liberty to make these roles our own, and that's not always the case. There's certain shows where, and with good reason, that the creatives want you to perform the show in a very specific way, and there's a very specific reason why they want that. But that can be that can be a bit challenging for the actor because I'm not the same person that may have been in the role before. And so it sometimes it can feel a bit limiting. But with this show, and we are encouraged to make it our own. And so the Washington that I am is going to be completely different from the next guy. And I just think that's a really cool thing. And so I would say I'm definitely inspired. And the cool thing is our resident director and the global director, Tommy Kell, they're always encouraging us to make it our own. And so it's such a gift. It's such a gift. But I will say there is like this pressure, because Christopher Jackson, just he originated the role. So, he's kind of like, he's the OG. And so, we of course want to honor, his work and how he helped form and shape the role.
That's so cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sophie, you have a question.
Yes. So I was wondering, where do you see Broadway in the future going, and when do you think it'll return?
That's a good question. Short answer, I have no idea. No idea. But I will say, well, these producers are working very diligently, I think, to identify when it's going to be safe I think, for theaters to reopen, and the industry has certainly taken a hit, both financially, but also livelihoods. I mean, many actors are currently unemployed, and so I think there's certainly a keen interest in reopening theaters, not only just in New York but across the country, as soon as possible, but not too soon either. So I would say, we're starting to see folks get very creative. The first contracts awarded by Actors Equity, that's our union, was awarded to two theaters in Massachusetts. And what those two theaters did, Berkshire Theater and the Barrington Stage Company, they took their productions and they produced them outside. And that was really cool. And so it was socially distanced, and there was a barrier between the actors and the audience, and audience members were required to wear a mask, and so it was very safe. It was a very safe environment, and they didn't have any. There weren't any COVID, incidents, and so I think we will be. I think we'll continue to see folks get creative on how to create a space that's safe for everyone. And also, I think, with Netflix, I think Netflix is going to be releasing The Prom. And I think we're going to see more and more shows go that direction, where we'll see something very similar to Hamilton, on Disney Plus. And so they're going to take it to the screen, because we don't know. I know that the industry in New York will remain closed until May 31st, but it's likely to extend beyond that, quite honestly and frankly. So I think they're trying to figure out how can they get people back to work, and how can we also share art with our audience members in a way that's safe and a way that's accessible during this unique time. It's a good question.
Thank you. Yeah. Can I ask my second one, or no? Do I have to?
Yeah, let's
Go.
make it brief because I have one last question after
okay,
you. But
sorry.
yeah, go for it. Go
Sure,
for it.
really quickly. I was wondering, what was the transition like from Bakersfield, California to New York?
Uh, uh, oh, night and day. So as a kid growing up in Bakersfield, I had these dreams of going to the Big Apple and living in New York. So it was kind of everything that I thought it would be, but so much more. But Bakersfield is a very unique place. It's very different from Los Angeles, and so definitely the pace of things is certainly slower. So I think I had the biggest adjustment for me was just the fast pace of New York City. Also, New Yorkers get a bad rap. New Yorkers are said to be mean, rude people. I mean, there's mean and rude people in California too. New Yorkers just get to the point. So that was also an adjustment, for me, growing up where I did, where people take the time to ask the question, "How are you doing?" and really are interested to know how you are doing. Whereas in New York, no one's gonna really, ain't nobody got time for that. So they're gonna keep it moving. So it was an adjustment, but you learn very quickly. And yeah, I mean, it was a big jump, but I'm so glad I took that leap.
Amazing. I love that. They're direct. They're just direct. That's
They're
all.
just direct. Scott, you know how it is. I mean, there's direct. They're not mean. They ain't got time. They don't want to miss that subway, because especially that L train, because it
No,
shows
if you
up.
miss that L train, you're
The
gonna
L
be
train
hanging out
is waiting.
for way too long.
Right.
One last question, and I feel like this is a great advice question that Aaliyah asked. So I think this is a good way to sort of wrap up our conversation today. Aaliyah.
All right.
Hello again.
Hey.
So my question for you is, while you're waiting for work or like going to audition after audition and not booking, how do you maintain your sanity and like your hope and still keep abreast of your technique?
Really good question. So I'm going to try to answer this number one is Discipline, is definitely part of it. So it's being very intentional, and I don't always get it right. I'll be very honest with and saying that, but it can be as simple as just doing warm-ups, doing lip trills, whatever the case may be, but just keeping the voice activated. I I've been hopping on the Zoom coachings with my teacher back in New York, and we also have like a group class, and so that's been a space where I'm able to at least do scene readings with other actors. And Zoom is such a wonderful tool. It's been great, and it's also just a great way to work with other people, and who are also looking to keep the motor warm during this time. The other part of it is, you know, I have this guy said this to me a long time ago. He says, get ready and stay ready, and that has really stayed with me. So, in other words, it's to the point of, right, you want to continue to stay activated and engaged and whatnot. The other thing is, you want to be careful how you treat people, and I believe no one is that good, to be unpleasant. I don't care who you are. I mean, I don't care if you are. I'm not going to say any names, but I don't care how many Tony Awards you have. I don't care how many Grammy Awards you have, how many Oscars you have. I personally do not care, because at the end of the day, what I'm really interested in is your character. And during this time, many folks that have reached out to me have reached out because they said, hey, you know what? That last gig that we did together 5 years ago, you know what? You were ready. And for that reason, I just want to know, hey, I've got this project over here, and would you be interested? So I haven't had to audition. And I don't say that, I'm not bragging. I mean, I say that with a great deal of humility. But a lot of it has to do with, building relationships with people and being pleasant and being prepared, because that has certainly helped me during this time. And so I've been gigging, because people, they kind of want to work with you when you're easy to work with and prepared. So I don't know if that answers your question fully, but that's one of the ways that I've stayed engaged, and networking, and that's so vitally important. But also an openness and willingness to learn new things, because that can only make you more well-rounded as an artist.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great. Actually, that's a great question.
Oh, Darnell, just absolutely phenomenal. This 2 hours flew by.
Has it already been 2 hours?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah,
Wow.
we actually went a few
Gosh.
minutes over. So
Sorry, y'all.
I just wanted to personally thank you on behalf of OSHA, the Master Artist Series, the Illumination Speaker Series. Just thank you for showing up, for bringing your kindness, your talent, and your expertise to our students in our community, because it's folks like you that really move the needle forward. So thank you so much
Thanks.
for your work. And I'm going to invite our BSU to hang out in the room. Yeah, because we're just going to transition right into that conversation. Everyone else, as you're heading out and logging off, do unmute and send some love to Darnell and thank yous and appreciation for this a really amazing masterclass for these last 2 hours. But
Thank you.
above all, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And this was such a highlight. So thank you guys for joining us today, and to everyone who participated, who performed. Hello. Wow. I mean, and I know, like, everyone on that's part of this class or classes or whatever, or your programs are just as talented. So thank you guys, and keep going, because let me tell you something. The industry it will come back. It is coming back, and it's going to come back with a vengeance. And so the demand is growing. People really want and miss live entertainment, and so I think you guys are coming into the industry at a really good time. And so I'm excited for you all.
Amazing. Um, y'all, thank you. and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, you hang out in the room.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much.